Because it was.
We on a record in cause numbers
It's a credit for time served.
323462 and cause number 323464.
Right.
The cases, both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Chance O'Neill Rankin.
Yes, sir.
Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rankin, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Rankin, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Rankin, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Rankin?
How you doing, sir? I'm fine.
I'm doing fine. Mr. Rankin, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Mark Fager. Mr. Fager, how are you doing?
I'm good, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Fager, Mr. Rankin, in clause number 323462, the information alleges that on or about January 15 of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Mr. Rankin, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Rankin, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty, sir.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rankin, I have before me what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Rankin, are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of this document, Mr. Rankin, is this your signature at the top above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Rankin, I have another document here. This document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Rankin, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature below this document?
Yes, sir.
There's one box that's checked at the top of this document. That box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you
Yes, sir.
understand that? Do you have the discovery certification?
We do for both cases, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rankin, I have before me what has been marked as, what's titled as discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the second line in this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Rankin, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Fager, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Faggett, you've advised and counseled Mr. Rankin. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None whatsoever, Your Honor.
Mr. Rankin, your attorney, Mr. Faggett, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
That he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rankin, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The state is offering 90 days jail time, credit for time served, taxing and retiring court costs. And this is to run concurrent with case number 323464.
Great. Mr. Rankin, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be on probation, because you've already served 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $397. However, you will not have to pay the court cost because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Mr. Rankin, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? And Mr. Rankin, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. And also, Mr. Rankin, this case will run concurrent with clause number 323464. Now, Mr. Rankin, in clause number 323464, the information alleges that on or about January 15 of 2020, January 15 of 2019, that you committed the class A misdemeanor offense of evading arrest, detention. Do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Rankin, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest? And are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty? Mr. Rankin, I have before me what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Hey, Mr. Rankin, do you recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Rankin, are these your initials? And on page 3 of the same document, Mr. Rankin, is this your signature above the line that says defendant? And on the next document, which is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Rankin, do you recognize this document? Is this your signature on the line that says defendant? There's one box that's checked at the top of this document. That box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? I also have another document here. This document is titled the discovery certification. Mr. Rankin, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rankin, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Fager, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
None, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Fager, you advised and counsel Mr. Rankin. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
Yes.
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Rankin, your attorney, Mr. Faggett, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Rankin, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that your mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The state is offering 90 days, a jail time, credit for time served, taxing and retiring court costs, and this is to run concurrent with 323462.
Rankin, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in jail because you've already spent 90 days in jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $397. You will not have to pay the court cost because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Rankin, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And also, this case is going to run concurrent with cause number 323462. Mr. Rankin, do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Rankin, you can get a copy of your judgment from the clerk who's next to me. You can stand on the mark where your attorney is standing, get your paperwork. Once you get your paperwork, you'll be free to go. Mr. Rankin, and you have a blessed day.
You too, sir.
And
Thank you for this appointment, Your Honor.
Mr. Faggart, I think this is your last case?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, you may be excused and you have a blessed day as well.
Ma'am.
County.